Well, here we are, week 12. It's me, Bob Harris, senior editor of footballdiehards.com. This is On the Hot Seat with Bob Harris, me. Hope everyone's doing well. Happy Thanksgiving holiday weekend to you all. It's always a good time to hit the holiday weekend because it means extra football games or extra days of football or an extra games on an extra day. I don't know. It's a good time. 3 games on Thursday this week. Hello, everybody. Hi, Mark, Charles. Ivan, Scott, Andrea, Graham. Happy everyone could make it. We'll kind of let people gather around, kind of set the table here. Week 12 gets crazy. No buys this week, but lots of intrigue, right? Hi, Pat V. Plenty to chew over, not the least of which is just all kinds of drama at the quarterback position. They tell me it's the most important position in the NFL. The wellspring of all fantasy production. The quarterback running an offense on schedule, allowing the running game to stay on point, moving the ball down the field. I mean, like everyone can't be Jimmy Garoppolo, apparently. That guy's playing some good football, huh? All right, everybody. Again, kind of give everyone a chance to show up. Hit the like button if you like me. If the dislike button if you don't like me. Hit the subscribe button. That's a big deal. Appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. And if you're not familiar with footballdiehards.com, go there and get familiar with it. All kinds of great content every single week, including some of this video content like what you're watching here. Evan Tarciano does some as well. We have the Saturday night DFS lineup show that was on Friday last week, but I think we're back to Saturday this week, 9 p.m. You can catch me on the radio device, the SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, if you're so inclined. Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 10 p.m. Special post-game show. I think we're starting an hour later this week on Thursday night. Just kind of recapping all the games. I think we're going from 11 to 1 a.m. So check that out. And Saturday nights, 8 to 11 on NFL Radio and the Fantasy Channel. And, of course, the pregame show on Sunday with Jeff Mans. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everybody. I'll get to your questions in just a minute. Let's kind of set the table here. Did I mention the quarterback drama? There's all kinds of intrigue. We have some benchings, or a benching and a likely benching. Zach Wilson benched. And probably could have gotten past all this if he would have said the right things after the game instead of today. He said the right things today, right? He said, man, I didn't play well. Think back to 2 weeks ago when Josh Allen had a poor game, and he comes to the podium and he says, it's hard to win when your quarterback plays like poop. And being a little more vague or vulgar about it. But he's right, the quarterback took accountability and everyone, yeah, that's what a quarterback does. Well, Zach Wilson did not do that. Apparently caused a little consternation in the locker room. Now it's cost him his job, at least for now. Mike White will get the start. Zach Wilson did come out today and say he's got to be better and wish he'd reacted better after the game. All the things that he should have said after the game, but we'll see. Mike White gets a call over Joe Flacco, who has been pretty successful earlier this year running this offense. But we've seen Mike White at times be a good player. I think they're going with White because they want to leave the door open to get Zach Wilson back. Are they really ready to give up on him? Because, kind of when you leave him at this point of the year, if you're going to have continued success without him, you're kind of say you're moving on. So just an interesting spot. They've been totally supportive of him. So it tells you how bad it must have been in the locker room that they bailed on him for this week. And we'll see if going forward. Also, Davis Mills, the Davis Mills era may be coming to an end. Kyle Allen seems likely to start. Lovie Smith, Pep Hamilton, the head coach and offensive coordinator, have yet to come out and say so, but a lot of reporting behind the scenes, sources talking, saying it will be Kyle Allen this week. And so we'll have a pretty good idea based on what the open portions of practice work look like. And I'm guessing they'll look like Davis Mills is not going to start. Not that we're all excited about the Houston offense, are we? Carson Wentz back. Designated to return, not back. Taylor Heineke's going to remain the starter for the Commanders in Washington, as well he should. All my Terry McLaurin shares greatly appreciate that development. Matthew Stafford ruled out. Is it a concussion? He's in the concussion protocol, but they say it's a strained neck. I'm wondering at what lengths Sean McVay will go to not say the word concussion when it comes to Matthew Stafford. Looks like Bryce Perkins will get the start there. John Wolford's still dealing with a neck injury, so Stafford ruled out. So Perkins, the 13 quarterback, will be the guy getting all the first-team reps in practice. Kyler Murray says he's going to play, and he was a full participant in practice today, so it looks like he'll be back. Who will be working with him remains to be seen. Seems like Rondale Moore is not going to play. Marquise Brown could be back. Cliff Kingsbury said Brown, Hollywood would be limited if he returns. So we'll see about that. Greg Dortch, like the Dortch, is dealing with thumb injury. Sounds like it'll be a matter of pain management for him to get on the field. He's been good when opportunities arise. So plenty there. Let's see what else we got. Lamar Jackson turned up on the injury report today. Did not practice due to a hip issue. You might have seen him getting that looked at during the game on Sunday. Couldn't score a lot of points, did the Baltimore offense. 13 points against Carolina. So that'll be one to watch as well. Aaron Rodgers came clean and said he's been playing since week 5 with a broken right thumb. Makes you wonder why he would want us to know that. Is he not happy that we see him not throwing the ball well and think that maybe he can't throw the ball well? I mean, we know he throws the ball well. Clearly there's something off, but he has now made it known. You wonder how happy the team will be about that. People don't like to let these secrets out. So lots of quarterback intrigue going into this week. And Jamar Chase, the big story, maybe looks like he will be back. Practice on a limited basis today, but Joe Burrow basically said at his press conference, hey, he's back. He's back. Jamar Chase is back. So, and if he's back, I'm playing him, playing the heck out of him. So I hope you're all ready for a great holiday weekend and that you have plenty of questions for me. I see they're piling up. I hope I can get through them all in the allotted hour. The longer I sit here and talk about other things, the less likely that is. So let's get busy and dive right into the questions. Again, so I see some of the questions. There's a format I prefer, especially on the Wednesday show. Give me a first name, last name, first initial, last name, and if you can, who they're playing. Very helpful, helps me process the information more quickly, and that is useful for me because we have a lot of questions. So again, happy Thanksgiving. Mark Jerzinski wants to know, who do I think is a better defense, Cowboys versus New York Giants or Miami versus Houston? Look, I'm always picking on the quarterback every chance I get. That said, Dallas Cowboys have been good. Micah Parsons is questionable. A couple pieces there are questionable on that defense. They have an illness going around in Dallas. That's been a problem. But the New York Giants are coming without 4 offensive linemen, right? And they have another one who's beat up. So this might be a good opportunity to play the Dallas defense, I'm guessing. Not against Miami. I'd lean Dallas. If I had the Dallas defense, I'm playing them every week. I just am. I hope I have a happy Thanksgiving, too. Thank you, Ivan. Scott Covey, of course. Welcome to the hour. Andrea, happy to see you. Nice to see you last night in the Turkey Day draft. Interesting draft if you're just drafting the Thursday players. It was a good time. Thank you, Graham, for the happy holiday greetings. Appreciate that. Same with you, Pat V. Okay, Charles Davis wants to know for PPR Flex. Look at him ask questions like you're supposed to. Appreciate that. PPR Flex, Tony Pollard versus New York Giants, Ramondre Stevenson versus the Vikings. I'm grateful for you showing up and asking the questions, and I hope the help is actually helpful and not less so. So, according to Tony Pollard, receiving running backs can make hay against the Minnesota Vikings. Right? I mean, he had a great game as a receiver. We've seen Ramondre Stevenson, well over 50 yards in 3 of the last 4 games, I want to say. But Damian Harris is kind of becoming a thing again, right? So I'm going to probably play Pollard here. I'm not against playing Stevenson. They're both kind of in a similar tier. Just let me get an early look at the rankings and see what the rankings say, just to make sure I'm not talking out the backside of my head. But I'm pretty sure, for me, it was a pretty easy call. I like Stevenson. I like Pollard over Stevenson. And the early rankings, Emil Cadlick's early rankings, because we haven't done the staff. Staff teaching be up at midnight, people, Central Time. Tony Pollard ranked 12, Stevenson ranked 15th. I think that sounds about right to me. That feels about right to me. And I don't know what I expect from Damian Harris, but he did get a little run last week. He looked a little, was pretty productive, had a nice 30-yard run, looked pretty good. So yeah, Tony Pollard for me easy. And there seems to be maybe both these teams are going to be indication of something we've been seeing more and more, is the split backfield. And maybe we're just getting more used to it or becoming accustomed to it and setting our expectations better to deal with it. But it feels like some of these teams where we're getting a second piece, we're actually, not taking a hit. Let's say San Francisco. Like if you're a Christian McCaffrey manager, you're not happy that Christian McCaffrey isn't a 30-point-a-game guy, but you're going to be okay with him as an 18 to 25-point-a-game guy. And the person who has Elijah Mitchell is going to be very happy to have Elijah Mitchell there, being productive enough. Same with the Miami backfield. I mean, more of these backfields are split. I mean, it's just the more I'm coming to grips with the fact that, look, you're not going to get the high-end production that we got from true bell cow backs, right? But we're getting a fair amount of production from two guys. I'm okay with that. I am. Ivan has to fill a super flex spot. Have Donald or Darnold or Perkins. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. That's horrible. I don't know if I want to deal with I honestly don't want to play. I don't need to see Darnold. Catch. You're hoping either of these guys catches lightning in a bottle. I think if one of them is going to do it, it's going to be Perkins, right? We have less knowledge about him, maybe in a shootout kind of situation against KC. We see that kind of come to pass where they have to throw the ball a lot. But his offensive line is not good either. That's why Matthew Stafford's in the spot he's in. Carolina going against Denver, that's a tough defense still, even without Bradley Chubb. I'm not going to play Sam Darnold there. I might play Perkins. This is a rare case where maybe I'd consider some of those other pieces. Pacheco was really solid, got the good workload. Got good production with the workload. I'll remind you, it was against a Chargers defense that everyone has pretty good production against. So, but I'd probably play Perkins and hope for the best. He was decent, coming in cold. I mean, not fantastic. I want to say he hit half his passes. Let me look before I say something stupid. Well, maybe I've already said something stupid. But let me look before I say some more stupid things. Yeah, 50%, 5 of 10, 64 yards. It's not going to be high end. I'd probably play him ahead of those other two, though. I like Paris Campbell, too. Just probably not as big a fan of that offense in general. And again, getting to the point where I'm trusting Pacheco's workload. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, by the way, has gone on IR, so he won't be a factor. Andy Reid was talking about Ronald Jones. Hey, yeah, he'll be up. I hope he's got all his protections down. What do you mean you hope? He's been there since free agency. How could he not have stuff down? Maybe that he doesn't have stuff down is why he has not been playing. For crying out loud. Right? So Perkins for me, Pacheco next in that line. Happy Thanksgiving to me and mine, and you and yours, Stephen, as well. Older Budweiser. Is that like older? Like, how old is older? Half-point PPR need to sit one of the following: A.J. Brown, Higgins, Waddle, ETN, Jonathan Taylor or Stevenson, leading Waddle due to Graham Script. Thoughts? You need to trade somebody. Do you have a weakness? If you had a weakness on your roster, I don't see it right offhand. But if you did, you need to change some of those. Maybe upgrade at another position where you're not as powerhouse as you are at these positions. So, maybe you can make an argument that Higgins with his Chase coming back is a little bit capped and you still play Waddle. I mean, the Houston game is going to be a blowout. I mean, I think we all feel that. But if it's a blowout, they got to, they're going to get the point somehow. I mean, I'm not going to go against you. You have way too many good players. So, I think your hunch is as good as mine. I get Waddle and I get the reason why. So I'm not gonna argue that point. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that really demands being sat, and none of them really demand it. So if this seems to be the way you're leaning. So I'll co-sign with you. As much as I hate to sit anyone in that offense. By the way, Zach Wilson took the time, talked the entire Jets team today, admitting he botched Sunday's post-game news conference. You don't say. Oh, Zach Wilson. These kids today. Iron Eddie, 11-20. Full point PPR, Jacoby Myers versus Minnesota, Cortland Sutton versus Carolina. Or Watson versus Philadelphia. I'm probably playing Watson all day long. I think he's earned a spot, right? I mean, super high-end capabilities. They get it as Philadelphia. It's a tough matchup. It seems like Philadelphia has not been as, maybe it's just Darius Slay has not been as shut downy as he has been. If you want to avoid that, I'd go Sutton. Myers is a really solid, low level, a consistent high floor, PPR play. You're going to get double digits. I don't know if, you can expect more of that. I'd like the matchup better for Sutton. What is your outlook on the Bills offense? I have Josh Allen and Devin Singletary and Dawson Knox, and also your outlook for Jamal Williams, if I can get 80 points from them. Well, I cannot promise you 80 points, but that's a pretty good group. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. And you need 20 points a player. You're going to get more than that for Josh Allen. Could get more from that from Jamal Williams. I mean, Jamal Williams clearly the goal line back. And they get some opportunities. He's got a lot of touchdowns, I believe, the most in the NFL for a running back. So Touchdowns, we know, are the most volatile of statistics, so that's going to be an issue. But he continues to get them, and I'd be excited. I'd feel okay. I don't feel great about Dawson Knox. Devin Singletary's on a little bit of a roll. I know we saw some James Cook, but it didn't keep Singletary from getting the job done. I wonder if they're trying to, they're in Josh Allen's ear, dialing him back on the runs in deference to his elbow. But I do think, if I needed 4 guys to get 80 points, I like 3 of these an awful lot. And one of them is okay. Dawson Knox, Scott. I know you're in the chase, looking for the big money. Graham F. needs defense special teams at Minnesota. New England defense special teams at Minnesota or Seattle versus Las Vegas. And 5-point PPR can play 2 from Slayton at Dallas, Sutton at Carolina, Juju versus Rams. Slayton plays Thursday. Juju's supposed to stat. So Juju did practice fully today, so I feel pretty good. But you're right, it won't be known until Friday. So you can always take the safe play, and I don't know that Darius Slayton is a safe play this week. If I feel confident saying that, but he's been, the tip of that passing game spear. Piece of that offense not named Saquon Barkley that you could live with. So I'm not against that. Just starting with the defense. I mean, it's prime time. You'll be surprised to learn Kirk Cousins is not great in prime time. You'll be less surprised to learn, maybe if you follow along, that Thursday nights are where he really has been horrible. So I don't believe in curses or things like that, but it's a pretty broad range of evidence that says he's just not at his best in primetime games for whatever reason. So I could play that New England defense in this one. Probably a little more inspiring to me than the Seattle defense. And you're going to play 2 Slayton, Sutton, or Juju. I'm a little more in on Sutton. Probably the smart move is to not play Slayton, I'm guessing, right? Sutton, we're ranking pretty high. Yeah, I'm going to say I'll sit Slayton in this one. Just, again, if I was playing the Dallas defense earlier, I'd playing them for a reason because I think they're going to have a good game. I mentioned the 4 offensive linemen that did not make the trip. That is an issue. What is this? Some breaking news? Do we got breaking news? I'll just check. Give me a second. Might be interesting. That is not breaking news. These guys and their frivolity on the Twitter. Damn kids. Get off my tweets. All right. So, man, that's a complicated question, man. I'm going to go ahead and sit Slayton there. And I'm assuming, your concern is going to be Juju. He could have a setback. If this is a worry for you, then feel free to play, Slayton on Thursday. It's not, I'm just going with the fact that he worked fully, and Andy Reid said today they expect him back. Could he have a setback? Could symptoms reoccur? Yes, all those things are possible. So that's kind of a you thing there, because I don't know that those are things that are going to happen or not. Graham, thank you for the question. Let's see. I think I scrolled down like 5 miles too far. Here we go. Who are you sitting in PPR? Aaron Jones versus Philadelphia, ETN, Ramondre, Josh Palmer, and Devontae Smith versus Green Bay. I would sit Devontae Smith versus Green Bay. And Josh Palmer, we'll see what's going on with Mike Williams. He was supposed to practice on a limited basis. He did not. So I think he probably won't play. So I'm going to probably go with Palmer over Smith in that one. But the other pieces I want to play. Hiya, Nicholas. Half-point PPR. One has to sit. Pollard, Walker 2, Walker 3, Eckler or Barkley. I mean, that's a ridiculous question. That's on you, Nicholas. 3 starting running back. You got 4 starting running backs. I mean, honestly, you need to trade somebody and build up your wide receivers or get another piece. Do you want me to read down my rankings and tell you what order I like them in? Let's see. Eckler is 1, Barkley's 2, Walker is 7, and Pollard is 12. So sit Pollard. You really want to do that? I mean, go ahead. This is a tough call, Nicholas. This is going to be on you. But that's the order we rank them. So good luck with that one. It's a tough call. That's going to be a tough call every damn week. I don't know how you decide that. Mark D, PPR flex spot. I have Taylor and Jeff Wilson. My running back spot and Gabe and Ayuk in my wide receiver spot. Need to pick one of these for the flex. Kirk versus Baltimore. Dameon Pierce at Miami. Slayton at Dallas. I'm going to probably stick with Dameon Pierce and think last week was a little bit of an aberration. I would like to believe. I mean, I don't know. There's total aberration. They're going to be sucking that bad. The Houston offense in general, especially Kyle Allen in a quarterback. I don't know that he's going to be way greater than Davis Mills. Can't be a lot worse. But, up to last week, I mean, Dameon Pierce, and maybe teams have figured it out. I don't know. But I think Dameon Pierce is the piece I would go ahead and play there. Kirk against that Baltimore defense. Probably not. Daniel Keenan, Mike White versus Chicago or Jared Goff versus Buffalo. I'll go ahead and play Jared Goff versus Buffalo. And I think Mike White has, shown at times that he can be relatively good. It's not like an overwhelming matchup, but I'm going to go ahead and avoid that situation for now. Stephen Pavia, if I can get Geno, yeah, I'd play Geno. Versus, it's Geno versus Las Vegas. Yes. Well, I mean, Geno's pretty damn good. I think he'll be a top 10 play this week, right? I'll just double check the ranks here and see what we got. I mean, he's right at number 10. So, yes, that seems like a reasonable pivot. I mean, Fields is number 7. If he can't run, let's say he plays, believing he's not going to have the same rushing role or not going to want to handle the same rushing role, with a dislocated shoulder and ligament damage. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. And I like the matchup too for Smith. So I think that's perfectly reasonable. Good evening, Albert. Thank you for coming. Andrea, I like that turkey draft. It was a good turkey draft. Questions are for the Saturday show. I will be here Saturday for that show, and you can ask me those questions then. Hi, Jason Wilson. Happy holidays to you as well. Is it time to trust Pittman again? I don't know if I trust him, but more than I did, right? I felt like with Ellinger, it was like there was no trust whatsoever, right? So I feel a little more comfortable with him right now. I don't know that I'd play him over Olave. Man, Andy Dalton, lights out. What about that touchdown pass? Did you see that? That was an amazing play. That amazing throw by Andy Dalton with a defender right in his face. Great catch by Olave. I'm probably still playing Olave over him and over Gabe Davis. I like Gabe Davis. I have this conversation every time. I feel like, I come off as anti-Gabe Davis. I'm not anti-Gabe Davis, but he's not good every week, right? The weeks he's good, he's fantastic. The weeks he's not good, he's horrible. It's like single-digit numbers. So, but definitely for me, Olave, Pittman, and Davis in that order. And it's a great matchup for Davis. So, again, if you want to play Gabe Davis, I'm fine with it. Just understand what Gabe Davis is. And I think, everyone who has him knows, right? Let me just bring up the numbers because I think it bears noting. Just so you don't think I'm pretending I don't like Gabe Davis. I do like Gabe Davis. He's fantastic. He's just not fantastic every damn week. I'd like someone fantastic every week. I know not everyone is. It's fine. Gabe Davis. Numbers coming up. So week 1, 18 points. Week 3, 6 points. Week 4, 2 points. Week 5, 32 points in PPR, people. 16 points against KC in week 6. They had the bye week. Then he came back and he had 2 games in a row, 5 points each against Green Bay and the New York Giants. He had 21 against Minnesota. Great game. He had 11 last week against Cleveland. I mean, he's not like a must play for me, but great upside as everyone in this offense does, right? I mean, I think it's, perfectly fine if you want to play him. And maybe how you constructed your roster is kind of how you decide this with Gabe Davis, and I don't want to get stuck on Gabe Davis, but I think it's, like if you have a roster and you have a couple of high floor guys ahead of them and you feel really comfortable with them and you think, wow, I've got room to swing for the fence here, Gabe Davis all day. Although I think Olave is a good swing for the fence play. I think Pittman's not so much a swing for the fence play. He seems like maybe, coming back into a position where I trust him as a high floor play. So there you have it. Hi, Robert Grimm Jr. Pick 3, half-point PPR. Jonathan Taylor versus Pittsburgh. Kenneth Walker versus Las Vegas. So I'm going to play or Stevenson versus. So this is another one. I mean, just the way things stand right now, I'm not sitting Walker. I don't want to sit Pollard. Probably sitting Stevenson in this one, right? But, just thinking it through, kind of trying to be logical. Checking the rankings. Taylor is pretty high against Pittsburgh defense. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Two things. I mean, I know Pollard shares, but Pollard is proven to be pretty good. So is Stevenson, right? I mean, so all these guys are in the top 15. So, I mean, and I'm sitting number 15 in the rankings. Again, all great options. Y'all need to work on this a little bit. You should be trying to leverage some of these extra players. I know. So I have this problem as well, though. I like to hang on to players for depth, even if they're really good players. But this is the problem you have. You have these impossible lineup decisions, and maybe you have a weakness at tight end, like all of us do. And I don't know that anyone's going to be trading you Travis Kelce, right? But I mean, maybe you want to upgrade there. Maybe you could use an upgrade at wide receiver as your wide receiver 2, or build a little depth in your receiving core that you can count on, right? So, I mean, because these hard decisions aren't going to get any easier as we get down the stretch. Mr. Scampers, hello. With Mixon in the concussion protocol, would you start Singletary versus Detroit, or wait for Mixon with the contingencies of Boyd? I'd start Singletary. I don't have a good feeling about Mixon right now. No one's saying anything. They're all being really quiet about it. So I go ahead and play Singletary, who's on a little bit of a roll. It seems almost like they've, convinced Josh Allen to dial back the running a little bit. Or maybe they're just giving more opportunities. And like there's a little bit of concern with James Cook, got some good run last week, and maybe he will again this week. But Singletary seems like the lead piece there. That's my choice, Scampers. Pat B. PPR, which one sits? Ramondre versus Minnesota, Olave versus San Francisco, Gibson versus Atlanta, Zeke versus New York Giants, or Connor versus LA Chargers. Wow. Great matchup for Connor. Can he actually take advantage of it? Well, Olave's going to sit out of this group. If this is the group, Olave sits. It's an easy call. Like all those running backs. It's a little close with Zeke. He's probably at the tail end of that group. And I know Connor has not been great, but man, that Los Angeles Chargers matchup has been sweet. Willpower. Akers is available in my Dynasty League. How much fab will you spend on him? I've got 37 out of 50 left, and I own Kyron Williams. Akers will not play on my team. I mean, he's not going to play. Is this like just basically a move to keep him away from other people, or do you feel like he's a handcuff for Kyron Williams? I mean, I think it's going to be a split, right? And I honestly, I don't know that I want both running backs in a lousy rushing offense. It was a good, okay game for Akers. It was one of his better ones of the year. What do you have, 60 yards last week? I would not spend a whole lot. I mean, we're at the point where you should start spending money, but I don't know if this is the addition I'd be looking to make. Probably wouldn't spend more than $15. I know, Ivan. I feel like sometimes I'm a little too hard on the people. But man, you get these impossible decisions, right? Hey, it's impossible. I don't know how you decide these things, you kids. Hello, Zin Carla. Nice to see you here. Thanks for coming. Andrea, do I think Fournette is going to play this week? It's getting interesting, right? There, talk that the hip is still an issue. I haven't seen the final practice report yet. But I just looked before I came on, and I know what Todd Bowles said is it's still, the hip is still a problem. He heard it in Germany, and also we heard the talk that what Todd Bowles said, it's going to be a hot hand situation, right? So that's a little concerning because Rachaad White might get the hot hand. I still like, if you made me pick one of these, I'm probably picking Leonard Fournette over the course of the rest of the season. He's just I mean, I think this is maybe a little bit of me hoping Tom Brady's faith in Leonard Fournette carries me. Rachaad White's looked pretty good, though. So this is going to be a tough call. But I do think he's going to play. The question then is, does he get the full workload? I mean, probably not the full workload. Or does he get a workload I can live with? And I bet he does if he plays. Matt Chen, trade Lamar, Chubb, Deontay, and Raheem for Marquise, Kyler, Gibson, and Jeff Wilson. That's a lot of pieces. Mark Chubb's on a little bit of a non-roll, right? He's not looking great. It's been, 50 yards on those last 24 carries, something. Deontay kind of seems to have fallen behind. Raheem has definitely fallen behind. Marquise, you're putting a lot of eggs in the basket of a collapsing Arizona offense, right? Are they going to collapse again this year? They've been, up to this point, not great. Seen the last couple of years, down the stretch run of the season, this team has fallen off the rails. I'd probably do this. Trade. Trade Trading away Lamar and Chubb. That's horrific. The more I think about it, the less I want to do it. I'm moving on. I did it. Now I'm moving on, Matt Chen. Tell me, Matt, are you like, which side are you on? And where, I'm guessing you're on the side that gets Marquise, Kyler Gibson, and Jeff Wilson. Tell me where you were leaning in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Standard League, says Chuck Buchanan. Zeke versus Giants. Kirk Cousins. Christian Kirk versus Ravens. And thank you. I will enjoy my Thanksgiving. There will be football on. How can I not? Standard League flex spot. Zeke versus Giants. I'm going to probably play Zeke. I mean, I think there's been enough for both of those guys to get something done. We saw it last week. I mean, every week's not going to be a blowout like that, but I think Zeke is the early down guy. I mean, I don't think they're going to change. No matter how much you and I and the fantasy world loves Tony Pollard, this offense thinks it needs Zeke, and they're going to keep using him. And I'm okay with that because I have some Zeke shares. And like Kirk against the Ravens, I mean, they've had a week to rest and think about it. And game plan for the Ravens. Ravens defense is playing some good football right now. I'm going to avoid that one. Joe Burrow against Tennessee or Justin Herbert versus the Cardinals. Let's take a few minutes on this one, Scott, and let's see what's going on with the receiving corps. Like, honestly, even if there was no Mike Williams, would that keep me away from this? I don't know. I don't think it would. I don't think it would keep me away from Herbert. I'm probably going Joe Burrow here, just to be clear. But I'm trying to make a case for Justin Herbert in my mind, and I really can't. It's Burrow. I'm thinking Chase is going to be back. It's a great matchup. Go Burrow. Scott Covey, do I think Demarcus Robinson is a thing with the Ravens? 2 out of the last 3 weeks think he's been a thing. One of them thinks he wasn't a thing. I kind of invested in Devin Duvernay. This summer is like a outside piece with maybe a shot. Looks like to me Robinson has overtaken him as the outside shot guy here. But he's that. I mean, not a reliable piece that you want to play every week. Timothy Scrum wants to know what happens with Aaron Rodgers next year. That is a very good question, Timothy Scrum. I think they need to figure that out pretty early because they need as much flexibility if they're going to trade him. It's a big contract. It's got a lot of money. He's still guaranteed. As I sit here now, it just seems like this is heading in not a direction where he's back. But maybe so I guess what I'll say, Timothy, is we'll see if they end up going. I mean, I feel like he set the table, or at least open the door to him sitting at some point the rest of the season, letting them get a look at Jordan Love. Maybe some of it depends on that. Maybe some of it depends on Aaron Rodgers' level of commitment this offseason. You've heard, if you read ProFootballTalk.com, Mike Florio grinds on this. He grinds on a lot of things and, maybe goes a little overboard. But it's true. If Aaron Rodgers is all in, he needs to be there for the offseason. He was complaining when he got to training camp that he didn't have a lot of time in with the receiving core and that he had to build chemistry. He could have been there all throughout, OTAs and mini camps, and he wasn't. So, I think some of this is on Aaron Rodgers to prove that he, is all in and belongs. So, but honestly, I think this is a good question because it's wide open. I think I could see it going a number of different things. Generally speaking, the wildest things don't happen, but sometimes they do, says Russell Wilson. That's right. So I think he's, if you slap me awake at 3 a.m, put a flashlight in my face and said, "Where's Aaron Rodgers playing in 2023?" I would say Green Bay. But I think there's a lot of things that need to be worked out for that to happen. Cletus, should I start Ayuk, DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, or Paris Campbell? If you only get one of those, I'm starting Brandon Ayuk. Bands Santana. Do you think I should roll the dice on DJ Chark or Robert Woods? I don't know if you're rolling the dice so much on Robert Woods. It's like, yeah. So Chark is off the injury report this week. He only had like 11 snaps last week. I think Robert Woods has more of a role. I mean, this, if you have a super huge hunch Bands _ Santana, go ahead and play Chark. I think I'm going to play Woods. I like what, Raylon Burks is coming on. I mean, and they're going to be a run-heavy offense, so I get why you're leaning against this. I just haven't seen, I don't have enough evidence yet to say Chark is really back. Will Power at Scott Covey. Harbaugh has said that they need to get Duvernay more involved. He did say that. I agree with that. And by the way, I approve of this chitter-chatter back and forth between Houston and the chat. It's a good way to do this. I mean, I think everyone, I'm sitting here answering questions. Feel free to answer each other's questions in the chat as well. Val's the GOAT wants to know, should I trade Saquon and Hollywood for Ramondre and Jefferson? Oh, I think you're going to have consistently better games from Saquon, right? I think you're going to have some huge games from Jefferson and some not great games. I think the Ramondre Hollywood half of this, I think Ramondre is probably the win there. So, wow, that's a really fair offer, Val's to go. What side are you on? I trade Saquon and Hollywood for Ramondre and Jefferson? Boy, do you think the role is the Barkley, run is slowing down a little bit? Again, I mentioned they're going to be down a number of offensive linemen. It's not a lot of great pieces around him. I'm trying not to be skeptical of Saquon Barkley because I was this summer, and he has totally proven me wrong. So this is a fair offer. If you want to do this, I think it's fair. Mark D. What do we got here? I lost you, Mark D. There we go. Dulcich or at Carolina or Evan Ingram versus Baltimore. Dulcich, I know it hasn't been as great, right? It's like been, what I want to say, just under 10 points the last couple games. But he still seems like the seam splitting kind of guy. I mean, Evan Ingram is that as well, but one of them is playing Baltimore and one of them is not. I'm going to go with Dulcich. I know, I hear you guys. The Ravens couldn't do a damn thing against Carolina. I don't know if that's the norm or not. Steve Wilkes, by the way. I wrote about this in this week's team notes at the footballdiehards.com website. It's a great place. You should go there. If you don't subscribe, use the code Diehards, promo code Diehards. When you do subscribe, you'll get 15% off the prorated price. All kinds of great things there, including My Fantasy GM, helps you consolidate, put all your teams in one place. Management tool that works really well. All kinds of other fantastic tools and statistical data there for you to pour over as you will, and great columns by a great crew of people. Casey Joyner, Jamie Calandro, Evan Tarciano, Joey Kalana, Matthew Sharon. I'm leaving somebody out that's a big name. Jamie Calandro. Oh, my God. Reginald James does his great commissioner articles. Tons of great stuff. Oh, stuff by me and Gary Davenport as well. All right. So I'm going Dulcich, but it's a little bit hunchy, right? Scott Kobe. I see your comment on my trade list. Andrews trade. Trey S. Hey, Bob. Big question incoming. Full point PPR. Start 3. Boyd, Zeke, Juju, Michael Carter, or Rashad White. Oh. We have at footballdivers.com a flex ranking that puts all the players in a single line and allows you to select them. This might be ideal for you, Trey S. I'm going to start 3. Probably Zeke is going to be one of those 3. Probably Juju is going to be one of those 3. I'm assuming he's in the locked and upright position. Does Boyd kind of fall off the map with so I'm probably going to play Zeke, Juju, assuming he's up and running, and one of these other running backs. I'm guessing it's going to be Rashad White just because I feel like he's a little bit of lotto tickety, right? That maybe he's got a big game in him, and I'm hoping it comes to pass at some point. But I think they're pretty even either way. So yours of choice. And then if Juju doesn't play both those running backs along with Zeke. My acres mainly to block. Okay, so got CMC, A. Jones. Yeah, if it's a block, I wouldn't overpay. So, yeah, but I mean, and it's an understandable move. I don't think, I'm not against doing that kind of thing. Mike Dempsey somewhere is like cheering you on. Yes, block. And I'm okay with it too. So, but just don't overpay. Save yourself a little money in case something happens, something comes up, you might need it. I do that way too much, I feel. Right? I save fab money because I think like that I'm going to have a huge need at like the last 3 weeks of the season that never materializes. I've got all this money. What the hell am I going to do with it? So don't get caught in that trap. Trey S. Oh, also Kyler or Dak and Tua or Dak. So I'm playing probably. I'd probably go ahead. Like I think Kyler's going to play. Pretty sure he's going to play based on his full practice today. But I'd probably play the overall healthier guy in that one. Dak, I'm playing Tua over Dak. Thank you, Pat V. I appreciate you. Appreciate my input, and I appreciate you coming. That's a good point, Scott Kobe. The Cardinals bye is next week. Yeah, that's worth taking into account, Matt. And I did not when we talked about it. And here's Matt. I was leaning on Kyler and Marquise' side because my wide receivers are kind of weak with Lockett, Lazard, and DJ Moore. And even though I only have Fournette, Chubb, and Foreman at running back, I think Gibson and Wilson could fill that role. I agree with all that. I think that's all true. But Scott Kobe's point is really good. You're going to miss a week of these guys. Michael Alexander. So take that into account, Matt. But I think otherwise, I agree with everything you've said, and I'm kind of leaning the same way until Scott Kobe screwed it up with his damn information and knowledge. Way to go, Scott. Appreciate that. In case you're just dialing this up, I am Bob Harris, senior editor of footballdiehards.com. You can catch me on the Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio many days, 5 days a week, whether you want to or not. You can catch me on the app. Use the SSM app. You can catch me whenever you want. And so if you just want to listen at the time it comes on the radio like I do as old people, I don't know about all these recording devices and DVRs and all these things. When does it come on? That's how I always watch the television or listen to shows. So 10 p.m. on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. 8 p.m. on Saturday on NFL Radio and the Fantasy Channel, and Sunday at 11 a.m. Michael Alexander. Got offered Pittman, Metcalf, and Rachaad White for Mixon and Juju, and I already have good depth at running back. What's your opinion of this? For Pittman, Metcalf, and Rachaad White for Mixon and Juju. I think I could get on board with this. If you have good depth at running back, you're getting a little bit of a lottery ticket on White. Maybe we're thinking that he's going to come on down the stretch, and he may. Leonard Fournette might block that, but it's not an unreasonable gamble. So we all know. Ideally, I think so Metcalf's a win over any of the wide receivers, but I think Pittman might be a win over Juju just in general if Matt Ryan can get the ball out of his hand. I'd probably do this. Trey S. Lastly, full PPR. Start 2, ETN, Jeff Wilson, Rachaad White, Lenny, or Devontae Smith. ETN against Baltimore. ETN's, kind of a little bit of different back. Like I was all dialed back on Deonta Foreman last week. If you listen to me on the live streams or on the radio, didn't feel great about that matchup or the game script. ETN, that's the thing about ETN. He doesn't get game scripted out, right? He's got to roll either way. And they did pick up Darrell Henderson, by the way, the Jaguars of Jacksonville, in case you missed that after the Rams released him. Probably going to go ETN, Jeff Wilson. And avoid the Rachaad White, Lenny split, and avoid Devontae Smith. I think Devontae Smith's fine. He's going to have big games. You're never going to know when they're going to happen. Graham F. I have Tony and Juju. We're still holding Tony. I wouldn't get overly enthusiastic. We'll see when he gets back. I don't know that he'll play this week, and if he does play, I just think we've kind of learned our lesson on Tony. He's a very exciting player when he's on the field. Rarely is he on the field. Right? This is what he is. And you're going to have to get past the FOMO, the fear of missing out on that huge game. And we're all thinking back to Dallas last year. 10 catches, 190 yards. It was phenomenal. And he's got that in him, right? And the week before this past weekend, he had the touchdown. Looked like he was going to fill a good role. Then he gets hurt again. The hamstring has been an ongoing issue. I'm just kind of off it. Hold on to him if you have room. But if you need to move him for something that you're going to play every week, or you need to play on a given week, I'd go ahead and do it, as long as it's not dynasty. Do I start Brady or Lamar? You start Lamar as long as he is, as long as everything's copacetic and he's playing, right? I think Brady's going to be fine. Just hasn't the Buccaneers' offense in general hasn't been the high-scoring unit that we've seen in the past, and maybe it can rectify and get that squared away. I'll take my chances with Lamar. Tua versus Houston or Burrow versus Tennessee. Like the matchup for both these quarterbacks. I think that makes it an easy call, and I will go ahead and go Tua. Love his weapons, as we all do. Am I missing some news here? Falcons are signing a wide receiver, so bear with me. Nothing of great news. Nothing important. So yes, Tua for sure. Hi, Jimmy Williams. Here I am talking about Zay Jones again. It happens. I was talking about him earlier today. Full PPR, what expectations can we have from him this week? I don't think it's a great matchup for this offense, and so I'm not going to get carried away. I mean, he is what he is, right? He's kind of an emergency play for me. I think any week you have to play him. You're kind of glad you have him, and every week you're looking for better options. 49ers defense or Jets defense? Cletus wants to know. Cletus, you're supposed to give me the opponents. 49ers are playing who? I got to figure it out. Just sometimes doesn't click, right? Let's see. San Francisco. I'll know it as soon as I see it. San Francisco going to New Orleans. Defensive questions take a long time because they're not like where I'm thinking. Jets defense against Chicago. I might go Jets, with a diminished or less than 100% Justin Fields, or maybe Trevor Siemian. So I'll go Jets in this one. Willpower, hindsight being 2020, I had the chance to take Saquon after I took CMC, went with A. Jones and Javonte Williams because Saquon went on the 2-3 turn. I was in the same place, Will. I was skeptical, right? And Saquon Barkley is punishing me every damn week except last week. He has brutally punished me. He looks fantastic. He looks like the guy that I didn't think he'd look like again. With explosive runs, he didn't have any of those last year. It was a struggle for him. So I hear you, man. I feel your pain. Cletus, Njoku or Higbee? Well, I'll play. It wasn't great for Njoku last week, and he's got a second thing, a knee this week. Did not practice today. The knee, so this gets into nuance, but in past weeks they've rested him and listed it as the knee, even though he was just resting. This week he's listed with the ankle and the knee. Is it a new knee injury? Don't know for sure. I'd watch that and see what happens close to the end of the week. But I don't know if I'm really eager to play Higbee with Bryce Perkins at quarterback either. So Njoku, if he's healthy and ready to go. Scott, Kobe, Elijah Mitchell versus Saints or Tyler Lockett versus Raiders, full point PPR. I think that depends on what you want, Scott. I think this is Mitchell's turning into a guy with a decent floor. We thought halfway through this game, wow, we've been duped. We got our asses Shanahaned to us once again. He fooled us. No, he had a plan. And I think this is the plan. He talked about splitting these, McCaffrey and Mitchell, pretty evenly, and looks like they're using the fresher legs as the closer in the second half to me. So I like Mitchell just fine, but I think if you want to swing for the fence play, it's Tyler Lockett, especially against the Raiders. Might play Lockett anyway. Timothy Scrum, who is the running back player playing year who you want on your dynasty? Who is the running back playing year who you want on your dynasty? Kenneth Walker the third, because he plays for Pete Carroll. He has established himself as the lead piece of this. Rashad Penny, I think, will be back, but it may take him a while. Either way, I think to me, Walker's established himself, and I like the lead running back in this Pete Carroll offense an awful lot. I suppose there are other ones, but in Dynasty, since this is just the second year, I'd like him. Breece Hall would have been in this conversation as well if he had not torn his ACL. I got about 10 minutes left, so I'll start dialing in these questions a little bit, make sure I get through them. Cut back the chit chat. Appreciate everyone coming. Hit the like button if you like me. Hit the dislike button if you don't. Hit the subscribe button either way. I'm here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the hot seat where you put me. And you asked me which of the top 12 running backs you have to sit. Damn you people. And I'm here every Saturday at noon for more lineup questions. So hit me here. I know if you're asking me questions on Twitter, I don't answer because, man, I feel like if I answer one, I should answer them all, and I can't answer them all, so I don't answer any. So don't ask me questions on Twitter. I'm not answering them. You can call me on the radio show. You can ask me here, but can't play the Twitter game anymore. It's too time-consuming. Start 2, says Val's the GOAT. Sutton, Zeke, Christian Watson, Rashad, Pacheco, and Slayton. 7, and you want to start 2, Val's the GOAT. You're not asking in the proper format. Slow me down, Valls. Slow me down, man. Probably going Zeke and Pacheco. I mean, I want to play Christian Watson, but I probably want to play the guys with the workload more. It's a tough call, man. Vans, Santana, Chark, Duvernay, Claypool, and Van Jefferson. Pick 2. I'm going to play Claypool. I don't like any of these guys, honestly. These are outliers, Vans _ Santana. I mean, we got a little hunch on Duvernay. I thought we mentioned earlier in the chat, John Harbaugh saying they need to get him more touches. It's maybe a course correction week. I mean, we're grasping at straws at this point. I don't want to grasp at the Van Jefferson straw because I don't like the quarterback. Chase Claypool straw, I don't know if I like that quarterback. I'll just go Chark and Duvernay. And, I mean, I'm hoping Chark gets more than 11 snaps. He's off the injury report, so that's good news. Man, this is a tough one. Super tough question. But that's where I'm at. Cordero Patterson versus Commanders or Adam Thielen versus Patriots with primetime Kirk Cousins as QB. Cordero Patterson, come on down. And I don't believe in these things. I'm not Michael Fabiano. I'm not out here like buying into all the curses and things like that, but it's like demonstrably true. Kirk Cousins does not play well in primetime. Just hasn't. Luka Magic. Start 1. Fields, Cousins, Lawrence. Traded Rashad White for Fields. Well, I wish Fields was healthy. That would be an easy call. And I'd probably go, I mean, I like them in the order you have them. All things being equal. Maybe we watch the injury report a little bit. Maybe this is a Saturday question. I know you got to start Cousins tomorrow night. I'd probably hold out for Fields and play Lawrence as my fallback if something comes up and skip on Cousins. Willpower. I thought Saquon was going to turn to Dave Johnson. Me too. That's what it was. That's what it was. With Justin Jefferson's case of turf toe and Adam Thielen very ineffective, could KJ Osborne be a sneaky good pickup down the stretch? I don't want to go that far, but I mean, it probably was not lost on you either that he had a huge target game a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it hasn't been horrible, right? Nobody seems to be really worried about Jefferson's toe. But it is a thing, right? And toes can be tricky and painful and all those good things. Let me just look at the targets for KJ Osborne. So we've got 4 in week 1, 2, 8, 2, 5, 5, 5, 11. That was the week I loved. 3. It doesn't I think it's a little bit of a risky play, but as you're heading into the playoffs, I mean, a guy that has a role every week might be worthwhile, especially in that offense. So for the reasons you said, if you have room, Scott, don't force your hand there, right? All right, I'm out of questions. This is great news. I've got them in before the end of the hour, as I like to do. Appreciate everyone coming. Again, I'm Bob Harris. Find me at footballdiehards.com, where you find tons of good stuff, constant flow of news and information, daily, the minute-by-minute things during Thursday and Friday and Saturday to keep you up to speed on all the injury information, the latest, who's practicing, who's not. Tons of other really great content, every week from Evan Tarciano, Joe Colana, Matthew Sharon, Brad Cruz, high-stakes player, does his sit-start every week for each day's games. Casey Joyner, the football scientist, phenomenal. Jamie Calandro, great DFS mind. Justin Lanero, the same. You can catch Jamie and Eric on the DFS live stream on Saturday night at 9 p.m. You can catch me here Saturdays at noon for the Ask Me Anything, and then the Hot Seat Show, which you're watching right now, every weeknight or every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate y'all coming. You can catch me on the radio as well. And David Johnson played last week too, by golly. Not very well though. I think it was -1 yard on his 1 carry. Hey. But anyway, catch me on the radio as well. Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Monday night, 10 to 1 a.m. Thursday night, 10 to 1 a.m. Friday night, 10 to midnight. Saturday, 8 to 11 on NFL Radio and the Fantasy Channel. It's a simulcast, people. It's great. You got to call a different number, but it's not a problem. Take tons of calls, have great guests. And catch me Sunday on the pregame show with Jeff Mann from 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time every week. So there you have it. Appreciate y'all coming. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I'm really thankful to have such a great community and supportive people out there, and love all the questions and the conversation. Appreciate you taking the time to come sit around with us. and look forward to doing it again on Saturday.